Hi class, Jolene here. Let's take a look at some previous student work for lesson 2, the snowboard and jacket designed for an international competition that you will be designing from a flag from a country of your choice. Now, as we look through these, you'll notice that some of them, like this one, are a surfboard and a t-shirt. Um, and some of them are a jacket and a snowboard. You'll be doing the jacket and the snowboard. We do jacket and snowboard for the spring semester and the surfboard for the fall semester. So that's why you'll see two different ones. Okay, so let's take a look at this, students. Each one of these has used the template that I provided, so you can see here sample flags from research. So this student has downloaded these flags and labeled them just for her convenience. And then here are her type trials for Canada and Slovakia, trying different ones that she thinks might work. And now we're starting to see some experimentation after she's done image trace on on both the flags, and you're seeing elements all over the place here. And she's kind of starting to figure out how she's going to place them on the jacket. And now here are her comps. You'll be doing 3 comps for whichever country flag you end up choosing. So in this case, she has decided on Canada, and so she's done 3 different snowboards for Canada. And remember, we're looking for motion here, since this is a motion sport. So you can see that she's achieving that using some of the elements in a kind of abstract way. These maple leaves that are on the Canadian flag, she's taken apart and used them in an abstract way. And here she's just used lines going through it to create that sense of motion. And then here we see, in this case, hold on a second. Yeah, she did 4 different jackets. You only need to do 3. And so the design should match the board that you've done. So let's take a look at which one she chose for her final. So on your final page, you'll have the jacket, the snowboard, and a picture of the original flag that you started with. Let's take a look at another one here. Here's the research from the flags. Lots and lots of type trials here for different countries. She's still deciding which country she wants to use. And now she's decided on Turkey. And these are her 3 comps and the 3 shirts. And this is her final. Let's see, she actually did more comps. I guess she was having lots of fun with this. Okay, here's another one. Let's start with the process page here, flags. Pulling out elements from the flag using image trace, and you'll see in the module for this there is a tutorial on how to do image trace so you can pull those elements out. Type trials there, more flags, and now the student has settled on Hong Kong. And then this is the final. Here's another one. And looks like there's the final. So she's used the leaves with a white stroke around it and then just copy, copy, copy to take our eye from the corner up out of the shirt, and again, creating movement here. Another process page, pulling out the elements, putting the elements back in. Type trials. In this case, she knew she was going to be putting the type on a dark background, so she reversed out the type so she could see what it looks like. And then there's the shirts, and I'm not sure where her boards are. All right, here's another one. Starting with the flags, pulling out the elements, and comps of the boards and the shirts, and then here's the final. And it looks like she used some of the line work that we used on the last assignment to help create motion. Another thing to remember is to make sure that you use the color palette of the flag. So whichever flag you choose, make sure that you use the exact same colors. And there is a tutorial on how to do that in this module. Oh, I think that is a repeat. So let's move over to this one. Let me go back here. So you can see working with lots of different ways of using the shapes. Now this student did a comp with 3 different countries. That is incorrect. Your comp should be all one country. So you're using all the same elements from, say, Macedonia, but in 3 completely different ways. So make sure you don't make that mistake. And then that is the final for that one. Moving on, another pulling elements out of the flags, type trials, 3 comps, shirts, and here's the final for that one. And here's another one. This is an example of choosing a flag that had some complicated graphics in it. I recommend that you do not do that. It just makes everything so much more complicated. And look at how terrible that design looks. It's all stretched and it really doesn't look like anything. Let's see what he ended up with. See, this would be a better way of doing it. Here's the original flag, just creating a graphic. And this would have worked really well if this student had put this graphic on the board also. And using that one little design element that's from the flag, that does look nice. And also notice that in this case, the student is wrapping the name of the country around the cuff of the sleeve, the bottom of the sleeve. So that's why we only see MEX, and then over here we see ICO for Mexico. Let's see, those are just flags. We'll skip past those. Here's another one. The Philippines. This is a really good example of 3 different comps for the same country. This one we can tell right off the bat is not working because there's no contrast here, or very little contrast, where the black type is over the blue background. So, be thinking about that. Contrast, that's one of our design principles that we want to make sure we think about. And then there's the final. Here's another one. Type trials, working with the elements. Oh, look at that strong type. It's working really well. The jackets, and then here's the final for that one. Super bold. That's going to stand out in a crowd. More comps. Now these comps are not complete because this one does not include the name of the country. Each one has to have all the design. It has to be fully designed, including the name of the country. Looks like she just moved it onto this page. And there's the final. In this case, this student included a front and a back of the t-shirt. You don't need to do the front and the back of the jacket that you're going to be working on, just the front. Also notice that these stars are coming out, and that's because out of the edges of the shirt, and that's because she did not use a clipping mask. You will want to make sure you use a clipping mask to hold all of your design inside the graphic of the shirt or the jacket, and I've put a tutorial up on how to do that. Here's another one. That's a final for South Korea. I'm just going to show you some finals at this point because I think you're getting the idea of how to set up and get your elements pulled out. So there's the Marshall Islands. So here's the original flag, and this student chose to bend those stripes and use them in a different way. And that's up to you as the designer to decide how you want to use the shapes, but still make it clear that it's from that country. There's the final for Botswana. We definitely see movement here in both pieces, even though the flag is very static. Let's see, I think her final is on, there we go, on this, in the same document. Definitely seeing movement here. And she did extra comps. Not sure. Oh, here's her final right here. Okay. All right, let's just look at a few more. Here's a really nice one of Cyprus. When you get in here and take a look at the template, you're going to see that each one of these elements in the jacket is separate. So this side of the collar is one graphic, the inside of the collar, and then this side, those are 3 different graphics. Then this is all one graphic. The little slit right here for the pocket is another graphic. So you can really have a lot of fun with how you capture the graphics on your artwork. Here's one for Mexico, another one for Canada. Here's one for Laos. And this worked really beautifully using these mountaintops and all these triangles coming. It's a very beautiful reflection of this flag. What else do we have here? Here's one for Malawi. And so the rays here from the sun were broken apart and used as a design element in this way. Very creative. There's another one and one more there. So I hope that helps get an idea of what the expectations are for your project.